Marketing Smarketing, a podcast where we talk about marketing strategies and ways to help you grow your business. I'm Nate Wan with Product Marketing Leader, and this is Sal. Go ahead, Sal.
I'm Sal Bunicor, also with Product Marketing Leader.
Cool. And let's dive into it. First thing we'll talk about is a little bit of news. What stuck out to me in some of the articles I was reading mostly was mobile optimization and the importance of it. There were some kind of articles talking about it. I think the first article, I liked the thing I read. It was like the number of adults using mobile phones will rise to 253.3 million by 2023. It's like, how many adults aren't using mobile phones at this point?
I was going to say, isn't that the number now? Yeah.
I
feel
probably
like
more than that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be more.
Probably more. I mean, that was 2023, it looks like. And I feel like to exist in this modern world, you have to be using a phone, like a mobile phone or something. So anyways, I thought that was funny. But more so, it's a study by, let's see, Insider Intelligence. I think, is that the name of it? Insider Intelligence. Yeah. eMarketer. Reports that U.S. adults spend nearly a third of their spend a third of their time consuming media on their mobile device, which makes sense. Like, if you're not at work, you're not in front of a screen, you're probably on your phone doing something. Yes, we should all probably get off our phones more often, but that's the truth of it. And yeah, and the big parts of it is we're seeing trends in mobile ad spending, and so that's how we're showing the growth of that. But mostly the tracking that's involved, I think, is also something that sticks out, because it's your mobile device, your information's on that mobile device. We all know that our phones are listening to us all the time, and our information is being sold all the time as well. And so people are really emphasizing mobile optimization and ad spend and their marketing through mobile device, and really optimizing like their websites and stuff like that for mobile view and making sure that's all happening. I don't know if you've been on like Instagram or TikTok, like the browser version, but it's like it's not that great.
It's not great, and you can't really do anything on it. Like, you spend a couple minutes, maybe tops on it. It's like, hey, you should download this app and use your phone.
Exactly. It's constantly pushing for the app. I think whenever I try and read like a Reddit post on a browser on my phone, it like brings up that menu of like, do you want to use Reddit or do you want to continue on the browser? And it's like one's grayed out and looks really sad versus the vibrant, colorful button for the Reddit app. But yeah, no, that's
websites are like not even just in the social media and forum world, but I feel like websites in general are being optimized, and like priority one is mobile, and then second is desktop, or desktop is a scaled version of the mobile.
Yeah, exactly. And
Chick-fil-A is a good example, because I just ordered from there this morning. Like I didn't download, I deleted the app off a while ago, but I wanted to pre-order my food, because the Chick-fil-A by me likes to take a long time with their service. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna hop on the web browser on my phone, mobile browser, and put the order in. It looked identical to the app, and then on top of that, it was just a smaller version that didn't have as many pictures. Basically, was the biggest difference between the web browser app on like a desktop. And it's just like, wow, so they really just prioritized mobile and then made everything else off the mobile web browser. Basically,
we got to get that sweet tea in. Sweet tea.
Exactly. Yep.
I love Chick-fil-A. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, that was my big news. Oh, another big thing about that for DaVinci Resolve users, because I'm crazy about DaVinci Resolve. I saw the new version 20 has, I think, a vertical view. Like they already had like an easy way for you to set like the resolution to vertical easily, but I think they added a way for you to easily set your like layout for vertical view. I'd have to go look for that again, but I thought it was like a button and you could just like switch it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw something recently about that too, and it was like, oh, look at this. This is like, it's now just like a default template instead of like, hey, here's the quick thing how you do this. Like vertical short video is becoming more of the common, more of the normal now, and um, editors are making that easier to do and realizing that trend that we've had for the last 4 years now.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's dive into what we're talking about today. And the subject today is sales process, part one. Even though this isn't really a sales podcast, it's pretty important in the go-to-market strategy. So, with that said, let's review what we've gone over so far. So far, we've gone over data-driven decisions. When you are making decisions based off of all the things that you're doing with marketing, making sure that you're gathering the numbers from what you are doing and utilizing that information to make the better decisions going forward. Then we talked about building an audience, utilizing LinkedIn, all that stuff. Then once you've built that audience, engaging with that audience to help build that audience even further. We also talked about defining your ideal customer. And then we talked a little bit last episode on crafting content and how to craft a blog and how to kind of go about crafting your content. So today we're going to dive into sales process. Yeah. So part one, we're going to focus on, this is the part of your marketing journey that it's kind of the end of the go-to-market strategy, right? You've found your customer, you've built a relationship with them, and then you've gotten to the point where you found out that they are interested enough. And this is the portion where you find out how interested they are, and then you kind of pass it off to the sales rep. And so that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, sales is the big transition there. Transitioning out of marketing, like we're all the stuff we've done is to build up leads and generate leads, and how to help people know what your product is, figure out where it serves, what it meets, what it does in the market, and like, cool, if someone's actually interested, what's that process look like then? So there's a transition piece where marketing and sales works hand in hand, and yeah, it's kind of what we're getting into here next. So yeah.
So first off, the main point that we want to get to is we've talked a lot about technology and utilizing technology, leveraging the tools that you have to build that audience, to make those relationships happen, and to really kind of cast your net as big as you can, but also making sure that you're hitting the people that you want to hit. But the importance here we want to stress is also the importance of how human-led activities are what makes things, is where the magic happens. No one wants to receive a robotic message from you. They want to receive a story. They want to receive a person. They want to hear from a person, and that's who they're going to kind of be drawn to. Something that they can connect to and they can relate to. And that's what people will kind of be drawn towards. So just keep that in mind with how important technology is to drive us in today's the technological world. You kind of need it. Remembering to keep that human side of things and making sure that when you're connecting and when you find your people, making that human connection and adding the story to it.
We've all gotten that AI generated LinkedIn DM from someone that at best all they did was tag your name on a generic message that went out to hundreds of other people. And it's like, nope, I don't even work in that industry anymore. I don't like, nope, I'm not looking to go back to college. Like, oh, I'm not looking at this. So like we've all been on the receiving end of the very tech heavy sales activity side of stuff. And that's just a complete like turn off. Like the human brain turns that off now, I feel like. So to get yourself to stand out is really that human led activity piece.
Yeah. In today's innovative technological world, it's my tag for what AI sounds like. So, all right. So all our efforts up to this point, if you've been following along, if you have been applying this kind of stuff to your company, all your efforts, your LinkedIn activity, your email campaigns, identifying people who are visiting your website, and then, you're commenting and all that stuff, all of this leads up to finding out who the prospects are and who's showing interest in something that you could offer them. And so once we get to that point, once you have established communication with them, then we're at the point where we're handing off those MQLs, right, the marketing qualified leads, to our sales side so that they can hopefully become sales qualified leads, SQLs. And the way you do that is you start with a meeting. You do a literal handoff between you and the sales rep. You want to make sure that you're a part of that because you want to add that relational piece. And you can even be a part of some of the other parts, like the discovery portion and the demo portion, just to keep that relational touch. Depending on how good your salesperson is at maintaining that relationship, right? So that's where we kind of go into discovery one. For those of you familiar with sales terms, discovery, demos, this is what you do in the SaaS world to kind of get your customers going and find out what they need, and then also demonstrate the things that you found out that they do need in a effective way that would get them more interested. So discovery one. This is the purpose of discovery one is just your initial qualification. You're trying to find understanding in what your prospect needs, and you're trying to figure it out as quickly as possible, so you're not wasting their time. And there's a reason I say as quickly as possible, because there's this thing about budget that some people can be split on, as far as not wanting to talk about budget right away, and then there's other people who want to talk about it right away. I'm on the side of talking about it as soon as possible, so that you can find out if this is worth it or not. And it's just not on our side. It's both our side and the prospect. You don't want to waste time, which is why BANT is so important. And that's what you kind of want to go through with discovery one. You're finding out their interest, and then you're finding out the foundational. You're getting a foundational understanding of their company. Sal, any notes on discovery one stuff?
I think, BANT is massive. Like, trying to quickly go through the needs, what kind of timeline they're looking at, what are all the four things there. Budget, what's A stand for again?
Authority. So budget.
Authority, that's it. Budget, authority, need, and timeline, right? So the quicker you're able to go through those, and those are at least like the bare minimum things you need to figure out, and see if it's worth your time and their time, because we're not wanting to waste their time either if it's a solution that they can't even afford, if it doesn't actually meet their need or their problem point. Like, discovery one is super crucial. And whenever we're in the software SaaS world, so a lot of times we see people skip the discovery and go right to demo, and then again, it's just wasting time on the prospect as well as the company's time of just spending time showing the demo. They're showing stuff that's not even accurate to what they're needing the software for, and that's a best case scenario. Probably is they're just showing random pieces of the software. Hopefully the software still meets their needs somewhere. But like, discovery helps you figure out what they need to see out of a demo. Like, discovery helps you know if they can even pay for the software and afford the software, if the software is actually doing what they think it does. Like, a lot of that piece for them, like, are you able to actually help implement the software in the timeline that they need it taken care of? So like, if you are not doing any kind of discovery in your early sales process, like, you're probably wasting a lot of time and either running with a bunch of leads that aren't actually worth your time, or you're really bogging down the good quality leads you have by not being able to tailor your next phases of the sales process. Maybe that's the demo, maybe that's whatever it might fit for your industry, but being able to tailor that second half of the sales process specifically to what they need, what they're looking at, and such. So
you want to avoid the cookie cutter demonstration. And this is something that I've seen a lot. Sometimes companies they'll, even if especially if it's a bigger company with multiple sales reps, they try to have consistency, and they try to be like more of like a teamwork process where they'll have this they'll have the slide deck or a PowerPoint that it's, everyone uses this PowerPoint to make sure that we're all in alignment and making sure that we look like a company and we act as a company. But that can hinder sometimes, because the cookie cutter demonstration goes over a ton of features that your prospect might not be interested in.
And might miss features that they are actually interested in.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is which again is the purpose of Discovery One. And so some things about Discovery One. The purpose, we just went over that. The purpose is to find out your initial qualification, and gaining the foundational understanding of their company, who they are, and what they need, like budget, authority, need, and timeline. Do they need this? Is this the right person that we're talking to, which is authority? Budget, do they have the right ballpark budget, right? And that's what Discovery One is. You're talking about a ballpark budget, so you're not getting into the weeds yet. And just finding out if this is, what they need. Timeline would be making sure that they have the right idea as to how long it might take to do a full on, if we're talking about ERP implementation, that's, months to a year, on getting that up and running. So making sure that they have that understanding. Your key goal to find out all this information is you want to find out their pain points. You want to find out the challenges, their needs, like we were just talking about, their wish list, making sure that they have something from their legacy software that can transfer over, something like that. And just finding out in general what they don't like about their current situation that you can use to apply to your demonstration. A good technique for this is asking open-ended questions, letting them, asking questions that result in them doing most of the talking. Roughly, you want to aim for like 90% of the time you want your prospect to talk, because you want to be the sponge. You want to be taking notes. You want to be the sponge, taking all that information so that you can apply it to the demonstration. And
maybe that's the biggest takeaway, even for someone who's kind of in the marketing world here, or probably our typical listener is a sales rep, head of sales that does all of its marketing stuff. So if you're living in the sales world, hopefully some of this is pretty redundant for you. Like if that's where you sit 90% of the time, hopefully these are some practices you already have in place. But for our marketing guys and gals who listen to this, this is crucial stuff, just to kick off the sales process. So as you're starting to cross over into the sales world, you're not here to necessarily share information, especially in this discovery stage. It's the opposite. You're trying to learn as much. So be the best listener you can be. Open-ended questions. If they can answer, just to be totally clear and transparent for everyone, if they can answer that question with a yes or no, that's not an open-ended question. Making sure it is, even trying to get it bigger than just hey, how many transactions do you do a month? It's this much a month. That's still pretty closed-ended. Getting some more detail around that. What's describe for me your typical transaction you handle on a daily basis. That's going to add a lot and give you a lot of detail there, and the reason you do that is so you can pull out other things within that you can't just from one question, because they're going to share more and more about that question, but also they're going to give information that could apply to 3 or 4 other questions as well that you're going to need to know. And maybe it wouldn't have come out if you just were hey, I just need to know how many transactions you do a day. You're going to get so much more information to be able to craft a second phase part of your sales process much more tailored to what they're actually wanting to see and do. So this is huge. And I think this kind of maybe jumping ahead on you a little bit, Nate, but you were talking even about just talking budget first and getting the number conversation out of the way. And yes and no. I feel like it depends on what your solution is, what your product is. So maybe there's some SaaS companies that it's only a $30 a month subscription for that. It's good to be clear and upfront about that in Discovery One, and no matter what the cost is. But in our line of work, our software yearly contract can be 50, 100,000, 200,000. So that's a big purchase price.
Yeah.
So if doing budget is super crucial, it can be a little bit more lenient depending on what you're actually marketing
Yeah.
and selling and such.
Well,
But
I would say to that point, like if we're talking about, a $30 a month product, as a salesperson, if you're selling that product and you notice, oh, you know, this company is not going to be, they need way more than QuickBooks. They need way more than something that's, that much. Then, at that point, it will build good rapport and trust. If you are the person that says, hey, you need something bigger than this. Like, this is like, my solution isn't like, sometimes the most powerful thing is to know when to say, hey, this isn't right for you. Cause they'll respect you and they'll have trust for you way more. And who knows, you might even make the sale in that situation. But yeah, I mean, the budget is pretty important. That's why a ballpark is important for the Discovery One. The next one is something that we recommend for your second meeting. Really, what we want to go into this meeting is you've already done your high level discovery. You've found out the foundational information from your prospect, who they are, to really discover how they would want you to talk to them, right? To get a little bit more trust and relational with them. This budget discussion should happen right after Discovery One, because you know what you need to know, and you want to find out, do they actually have the budget past a ballpark decision? So this is where you're building a draft budget for them based off of what you found out in that Discovery One, so that you can present it with them. And it should be a meeting, not really an email, so you can kind of walk through it with them. And when you walk through it with them, that's when you get a little bit more information about what they need, and whether or not they actually do have the budget, and if they have the mindset needed for your solution. That's meeting two. I just really want to talk about those two meetings in this first part, but we can continue on with more on our next episode. So, Sal, do you have any other notes?
If you've been following our challenges over the last couple episodes, one of them was crafting your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And if you've done that, you probably have a good understanding or a good idea or guess of what the BANT response would be in a discovery process. So probably a good again, that's always a good practice to keep building out your ideal customer profiles and understanding those better and better. But so do that if you haven't done that yet. But build it if you're keeping up with all the work. Start building out some of those initial qualification questions, like what are the basics you need from that ICP to qualify them for your product or your solution or your services? Like what are those? And form those into open-ended questions. Don't just be like, hey, I need them to be able to afford X amount. I need them to have these problems. Like, figure out questions to go along with those so that are open-ended that you're able to use in this initial discovery meeting. And that's going to help build out your framework for your Discovery One call and make life so much easier for you. So there's your challenge. Build out your initial qualification questions, open-ended questions for your Discovery One call.
Good one. All right. Well, this has been fun. Marketing Smarketing is a product marketing leader production. All writing, editing, and engineering is done by either me or Sal. And actually, we have a new guy, Tim, and he's going to be helping with the podcast production. Tim Mayer.
We may show his face at one point.
Yeah, he's probably going to join the podcast at some point. We plan on releasing episodes every other week, so be sure to look out for those on your favorite podcast platform. And that's it. We'll see you guys later.
Happy marketing.